Hi, everybody. Richard Sher here. It's Christmas week, and it's time to square off. Let's meet our special panel for this week. Talk show sensation, veteran Jimmy Mathis, making her second appearance, returning to square off after a little bit of an absence, attorney Darlene Kennedy. We have our favorite GOP committee woman, Nicolee Ambrose, and he's been with Square Off for all of the 40 years. Please welcome attorney Billy Murphy. Thank you all for coming. And let's talk first about 26-year-old accused murderer Luigi Mangione, waived extradition from Pennsylvania to New York on Thursday to face charges of first and second-degree murder in the shooting death of United Healthcare CEO 50-year-old Brian Thompson, which happened outside of the New York Hilton Midtown Hotel. All of it captured on surveillance video. Mangione is also now charged with one federal count of using a firearm to commit murder in furtherance of terrorism. If convicted, Mangione could be sentenced to death. Billy, this case is right up your alley.
It's also bizarre because this is a very bright kid who did a variety of bizarre things in exercising a rather quixotic plot to kill a business executive. He left all kinds of clues. His behavior afterwards was fascinatingly bizarre. Getting caught in a McDonald's with a potato in your mouth isn't exactly anybody's definition of hiding and trying to get away with something. And he resembles, in my experience, and I've seen hundreds of them, a paranoid schizophrenic who's certainly starting to develop and blossom in his schizophrenia. So I wouldn't be surprised at all because he is in the age range where schizophrenia can become obvious for the first time, that he is suffering from schizophrenia with paranoid delusions.
Thank you, Dr. Murphy. We appreciate your talk.
And by the way, we have to know how to diagnose them as criminal lawyers.
Yes, you do.
Because we can miss a defense to their conduct or an explanation for their conduct.
Darlene, you nodded yes. What were you?
Oh, I'm in total agreement. Only because I've had some experience, not in trial, but the fact that it started in his younger years. He became obsessed with he became obsessed with all of these companies. He obviously had a focus on one. My sincere sympathy goes to the family, but it's a bigger issue, unfortunately, that still needs to be addressed, and that's insurance and the America.
Jimmy and Nicolee, Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg calls Thompson's murder, quote, a frightening, well-planned, targeted murder that was intended to cause shock, attention, and intimidation, and it sure created a lot of shock here in the Baltimore area. Nicolee, let's hear from you.
I think there's been a lot of surprise, of course, because so many in the Baltimore area, of course, know the high school. My son went to the same high school that Luigi did, although many years apart. Of course, the Mangione family is well known. But just what a sad path Luigi had after he left the Baltimore area. You know, we can all see his mental state and that he seemed to be in great shape when he left Baltimore, and how divergent his path was when he left here and then when his family couldn't find him. So it's just so sad. And the other thing that's just really shocked me about this is how many people have uplifted Luigi as a hero. You know, it's disgusting that people would say, oh, but he killed one of the bad guys. If I don't like my health insurer, well, you could transfer that argument to absolutely anything. Oh, I don't like your political party, or I don't like how you feel on this one issue. It's really disturbing that it's become popular for some people to promote this kind of horrific behavior.
For his extradition hearing, there were lots of supporters in Pennsylvania and more supporters in New York. Jimmy, we're interested in your take on this.
So right. The fact that people are celebrating this is very pathetic and sad. It's also interesting, though. That's why this isn't a conversation about guns in America. You notice that this is a shooting where nobody's talking about guns are too easily accessible because a lot of people agree with what he did. He wanted to be a martyr, and he got his wish thanks to the way the media has covered this. And I've been in broadcast journalism for over 25 years. I've covered a lot of these. And normally, when you have an individual like this, where their point is to be a martyr and to get national media attention, the media goes out of their way not to do that. The best example I remember of this was Virginia Tech. And that shooter sent a manifesto to NBC News, and the national media collectively made a decision not to give him the attention that he so wanted. And you've seen mass shootings and national stories before where media, and specifically the national media, doesn't run the pictures, doesn't run the mission statement of why he did it. And the media's done the exact opposite on this. And what it does is it encourages other people, obviously, that have beliefs, that have causes, to do horrific things to get the attention of the media and the American people. And Majan has done a very good job at that. Of course, Billy's right. Of course he wanted to get caught. He had the manifesto in his backpack. He took a bus out of New York City. He had a ghost gun. Rumor was in the McDonald's, he heard rumblings that people knew who he was, and they were calling the cops, and he hung out. And now he's playing this thing like a media darling, and the American people are buying into it.
Billy, what kind of defense do you think they'll post?
I just told you it's going to be a mental illness defense, and it may be legitimate, but that doesn't make his conduct legitimate. What he did was horrific. And the applause that he is getting, in my estimation, is a vicarious agreement with the position that he has staked out, that healthcare costs and services are substandard and people are being gouged instead of being served. The turn down rate among healthcare providers is exceptionally high. And the hoops that people have to go through to get the treatment that ought to be automatically covered is tremendous, because they make money every time they don't cover something. So there is a lot of pent-up anger out here, which explains part of the applause. But there's some people who are taking it very, very far from that, and are in the copycat range, expressing their vicarious belief that this kind of homicide is somehow justified. It's never justified.
Well, the complaints.
And by the way, I agree with everything everybody said so far.
Wait, Jimmy, hold on, Jimmy. Let's get Darlene, then Jimmy, go.
Oh, I was going to say, it's unfortunate what's happening post murder for what's happening on the internet. But the fact of the matter is, the internet was deluged with these people talking all the time because everyone has a story. And it's unfortunate. And again, to the family who lost their father and husband, I am sincerely sorry. And they have my sympathy. I don't agree with what he did. But unfortunately, maybe it will catapult something better.
I can't believe you're saying that. I really can't, because now this is the reason why there was no outcry on an assassination attempt of a former president and a presidential nominee. The lack of sympathy, of outrage with the assassination attempt on President Trump, okay, was kind of the prelude to this. So look, there's a problem with healthcare. There's a problem with the interest on credit cards, on mortgages, with the airline industry, with the government itself. So if you have real passionate issues of a group of people, okay, that are screwing over the American people, then I'm sorry, Congress then should be on notice. If we're going to defend this, which is by de facto what you just did with all due respect, okay, then it's open season for anybody out there.
Oh, you misread me. I did not say that I agree with what he did. I said the result of what has happened may catapult something positive. I would not. I totally disagree with what he did. It was horrendous. I would never write that or say that.
And Jimmy, you've got to concede that positive change can come out of this, because the attention that this has caused people to pay to overall to how the insurance industry actually works and how perverse it is going to be helpful for reform efforts. That doesn't justify anything that this kid did. That doesn't justify any approval of what this kid did. That doesn't justify the copycats that will be created. It doesn't justify any of the negative consequences of killing somebody. And so I think we're all in agreement about that.
Nicolee, you get the last word on this.
Okay, so what we've just witnessed, right, has played out. Normally, when you see a shooting in America, all you see is the left grabbing for guns. In this case, you have not heard that one time. You haven't heard complaints about ghost guns, any guns. No, it's been, oh, we understand because the healthcare system is bad. And once again, it doesn't matter what the topic is. You cannot have an argument like that when someone's just committed cold-blooded murder, because then it justifies anyone. I don't like that presidential candidate. I don't like this person's view on XYZ. We can't live in a society that sits there and says, you know, guns are fine as long as it's used for something we're okay with. And by the way, the problem is not guns. It's, in this case, I think the mental illness. And but my concern societally is that people's willingness to justify it based on the issue.
Jimmy, we have
but
to
Nicolee, I think you are overstating what would otherwise be a good case. There are a lot of us who have said in response to this that we need to control guns. There are a lot of people who are saying ghost guns are a particularly dangerous part of this scenario.
Which he had.
And silencers.
Which
So you don't overstate your case, because then you lose your credibility. Now, has the press covered it the way they would normally do it? No. But that's not my fault. I've been saying things about ghost guns forever. That's not Jimmy's fault. That's not anybody's fault on the panel. And you certainly can't blame it on the left. You know, the focus of attention on this case is a coexistence of two things simultaneously: the anger that people have about how their health care is being provided and the excess profits in the industry, and somebody who did something wrong, which highlights that. And
Right.
So, you know, let's don't take it too far.
All right,
So
we gotta
this is going to
stop.
be the theme of everything, I think, on today's show, is what the left / the media, because it's synonymous, has done with every single topic we might be discussing.
All right,
Well, wait a
Nicolee,
minute.
hold
Has
on,
the
ladies
right
and
come out
gentlemen.
against ghost guns as
We
a
are
result
going
of
to
this?
take.
Has the right come out with gun control as a
Billy.
result of this? No, they
All
never
right.
do.
We must thank our 4 sponsors. Let's hear from the voice of Square Off. Then we'll get to the shutting down or not shutting down of the federal government of the United States. Here's Howard.
Thank you, Richard. You know, it amazes me how crazy some people drive on high-speed roads these days, weaving in and out of lanes. It's no wonder there's so many accidents. Well, Leading Edge Auto Body and Mechanical Repair want you to know that the insurance companies cannot tell you where to take your car. Check out their reviews on Yelp and their 5-star reviews on Google. Leading Edge works on all makes and models and offers free pickup and delivery anywhere in the Baltimore area. So give them a call at 410-433-6433 or visit them at 5807 Falls Road in the heart of Mount Washington. They make your car look and run like new again.
Yes, they do.
Without a doubt, Baltimore is one of the best, if not the best, diner towns in the country. And the most popular and award-winning of them all are the Double T Diners. TT means totally terrific. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, the Double T menu offers you so many choices, you're going to want to order everything. And everything is delicious. Plus, you'll have to save room for dessert. So with locations at Route 40 West, Perry Hall, White Marsh, Annapolis, Pasadena, and the EC Diner in Ellicott City. Plus, Monday nights are lobster night at By the Docks in Middle River, all part of the Double T family. Back to you, Richard.
I can just say that Leading Edge leads our family when it comes to auto repairs. They're really terrific. Can't go wrong, I guarantee it. And now we move on to this week's Square Off, which I want to let you all know is being recorded on Friday morning. I'm telling you, it was recorded Friday, hours after President-elect Trump's second plan to keep the government open and suspending the debt ceiling. that was rejected also, as Democrats, and believe it or not, dozens of Republicans rejected Trump's new demands. And so at this moment in time, we don't know if the government will be open or shut down, but I wanted you to know that if it happens after this recording. Let's call on you first, Nicolee. What do you think about this whole situation?
I'm fine if the government shuts down. Quite frankly, I am so sick of the House of Representatives not being able to do its job, which is control the purse strings of our nation. I am sick of what should be a continuing resolution for a very short period of time, instead being packed with a whole lot of stuff that hasn't gone through proper processes. And I'm just sick of waste. I mean, I think that's why we had such a significant landslide election for president and for Senate. And I hope America can get on a path to be more fiscally responsible.
All right, Jimmy.
First of all, I didn't know when I voted, even though I didn't vote for the winning party, that he would get 2 for 1. I mean, who is the president? And first of all, he's not even the president. He's president-elect. And how is he running the government and not even sitting in the seat? This is absolutely ridiculous. And I'm sick of the Democrats, as well as Republicans, who sit there and just sit there and shudder when he says something. I mean, people need to start standing up. And this country is really going downhill in the sense that people, the communities are not getting involved and getting people into Congress and into Senate that are really going to represent the American people and not just a portion of the American people.
All right. A few things here. First of all, we're not shutting down the government. We'd be rolling back about 17% of it. This shutting the government down rhetoric has been used for the last 25 years. It's shut down roughly 17 times, 4 times Ronald Reagan. Guys, right now we have unfunded liabilities at above $225 trillion. If we do not, we may have already passed the point of no return on this. I've been talking about debt, unfunded liabilities for 15 years on the air. And you know what? In that whole time, we've never passed an actual budget. We've been doing 6-month CRs over and over that include an incredible amount of pork. I understand why the left hates Elon Musk, because if there's any accountability, and if we get our spending under control and we start to go through our spending with a fine-tooth comb, that petrifies the left. It needs to happen. And what I think a lot of the people like about Musk on the right is he's not elected, because the decisions that have to be made are going to be political suicide. They just are, which is why nobody in Congress will ever have the guts to do it. And Nicolee's absolutely right. The House of Representatives, which is in charge of the purse strings, has been in dereliction of duty through basically my entire life.
And Jimmy, sorry, go ahead.
I'll let you go. I don't need to filibuster.
Go ahead, Don.
I was just gonna.
This is what brings countries down. This is what brings nations down.
Well,
Okay.
I was going to say that I think in some ways there is some agreement. I've always been fiscally conservative, and I don't like pork. I don't like fat unless I'm eating it. And so I don't like the government. They frustrate me. The government has frustrated me for years. And we do need to do something about cutting back the fat. But the fact of the matter is, Elon Musk is one of the government's biggest contracts. I mean, isn't there some conflict of interest there?
I would think so.
Well, there's a tremendous amount of conflict of interest because Elon Musk knows he's enriching himself by taking over this alter ego position of Donald Trump. And it's a shotgun wedding because neither side knows whether they can ultimately stand the other. Musk's self-interest in this is virtually criminal because he wants everything he can get for Tesla. He wants Donald Trump to be anti-competitive in the automobile market. He wants to get everything he can get out of being in the space program. And riding with Donald Trump suits every one of his selfish desires.
Right.
And so frankly, what you're going to see is a lot of stupidity coming out of the Trump camp, a lot of bullying coming out of the Trump camp, a lot of ill-considered moves that are coming out of the Trump camp that are going to galvanize working people who supported Trump. And so you're going to see all kinds of cuts being made that are going to enrage folks. And hey, good for Donald Trump. I hope he enrages folks out of office.
Yeah, right.
That's my bet.
And this was the problem. This was the problem with Congress being able to trade on inside information, not only inside information, but on industries that they were passing legislation on. So just end with the hypocrisy.
Right. You're right about that.
What I'm talking about is pork and a runaway budget, and it needs to be brought under control, and it needs to happen now. And by the way, when this whole government shutdown, it doesn't affect defense, it doesn't affect Social Security, it doesn't affect health care. So I am sorry if some national park is shut down till the end of January, okay? And that's sad. We'll get through it.
Nicolee, want to ask.
But I think it's worse than that, Jimmy. There are a lot of people who are going to suffer financially because of the irresponsibility of not being able to come up with a bipartisan solution to the problem. And Trump doesn't really have a solution. Have you noticed?
And that's why you don't do this.
And he wants to expand the debt level.
Hold it, guys.
Which is
And
insane.
At a time.
That's why you don't use CRs for this. That's why you can't operate the most powerful economy on the planet 6 months at a time for 2 decades. That's why you need a budget. It needs to be stripped down. There has to be accountability for it. You got to cut out the pork. And you can't do this 6 months at a time in perpetuity, which is what we've been doing.
All right, let me speak. There is a great concern out in the general community, the power that Elon Musk is wielding. Some call him the real president-elect. Trump seems to be saying and doing anything that Musk says to do. But he threatened, this is Musk, threatening the first bill that was turned down. This bill should not pass, Musk says, warning any member of the House or Senate who votes for this outrageous spending bill deserves to be voted out in the next 2 years. So he's threatening people. He's making tons of dough because he's Trump's buddy. And what do you say about these threats against the American people, many middle class, who are not going to do too well when prices go up and eggs are $55 a dozen?
If you continue runaway spending, Richard, inflation will continue to go up. The inflation you're seeing right now is a direct result of us not controlling spending, printing money. It's a direct result of it. So if you really care about what you just mentioned, tough decisions need to be made right now. We need to stop printing money. We need to stop living off borrowed money. We need to start cutting out pork. We need a federal government that's supposed to do what it's supposed to do for the American people and not act as a general welfare distribution of cash. If you really care about inflation, I mean, if you're serious about that, then this needs to happen. And by the way, there will be pain because it's been out of control for so long because no politician has had the grapes to deal with it.
I actually think
are you in favor of Trump's
Nicolee's
that the debt ceiling should be, just one question, Richard. Are you in favor of Trump's position that there should be no debt ceiling?
There isn't one. When's the last time we've used the debt
So
ceiling?
you think that's okay to make it non-existent?
I agree, Billy, real quick. I agree with the debt ceiling. The debt ceiling was put in place because Congress could not do its most fundamental job. But if you're going to blow through the debt ceiling every 6 months with a CR, then there really isn't a debt ceiling. So no, I do not agree with Trump on that. But if you're going to have one, you got to use it. If you're not going to use it, then what's the point of it?
Go ahead, Nicolee.
So first of all, I think there's a huge issue with basically, as Jimmy was saying, there is no accountability. There is no debt ceiling. And I'm actually positively hopeful that Trump is actually seemingly approaching this term with a lot more fiscal conservatism. And being a bit more hawkish on the deficit. So I think these are all very positive signs. And everything you listed out, Richard, is potential concerns with this person or that person. These are all things your average American felt they were living under as a threat with the Biden administration and with the media. Those were the repercussions we were living under. When people say groceries went up 20%, that's not believable because every time I go to the grocery store, my bill is 50% higher. Every time I got a new car insurance bill, it ended up being over 50% higher under the Biden administration. These are things Americans just simply cannot afford. It has made life unaffordable. And I think people overall have just been concerned that they can't achieve the American dream anymore. The average age of home ownership is now 53. That's crazy. Like, what happened to America where we could all lift ourselves up by our own bootstraps? It's been scary, and I hope we get back on track.
Darlene, what are you thinking?
Well, I mean, again, no one really, for me, the real issue is how does someone threaten a Congress and get away with it? I mean, there's so many conflicts. I mean, this guy has contracts with the government. He's now the right hand, left hand man of the president-elect. I mean, the president-elect isn't even the president, but they are running the government because no one else seems to be doing it at the moment. I don't think we disagree on the fact that inflation is crazy. We need to have a debt ceiling, but we also need to make sure that the people who are representing us and not scared of bullies.
So
Well,
vote
the
on.
misfortune here is that Trump is a clever man, but he's a stupid man. And his chickens are going to come home to roost when the American people get so tired of the bullying, of the threatening, of the irresponsibility of his decision making, of the incompetence of his cabinet selections, of the fact that he is catering to billionaires, that he's extorting the tech industry to get money for his self and for this campaign. I mean, it's crazy what he's doing. And many people will start to see it as it gets worse and worse. And I predict that it will get worse and worse.
All right, got to stop.
Okay.
Hold it, Nicolee, I'm coming back to you after Howard finishes our commercials. Go ahead, Howard, the voice of Square Off.
Thank you, Richard. You know, the law firm of Barry Glazer specializes in personal injury, medical malpractice, and nursing home neglect. His creative TV commercials have made him very recognizable, so much so that you can't walk down the street without people coming up and thanking him for telling it like it is. Barry and his team have an in-house doctor and nurse on staff. In fact, you should call Barry before you call the insurance company. His clients will tell you that Barry gets you more compensation than you ever expected. He's that good. Give the law firm of Barry Glazer a call at 410-547-8568 and let them know you heard about them on Square Off. You know, the Ravens, big game this coming weekend, big game, and their quest for a Super Bowl is really, right there. It's for them to take. Well, what a better way to watch the game than going to Papa Sports Bar and Restaurant. You can dine in the sports bar surrounded by more big screens than you could ever imagine. Or you can have a gourmet meal in the dining room section of Pappas. Either way, you can enjoy the award-winning Pappas crab cake, imperial crab, and much, much more. Plus, they ship crab cakes all over the country. And yes, Oprah gets her crab cake shipped to her all the time from Pappas.
Yep.
At Pappas, you'll enjoy a dining experience second to none. Tell them Richard sent you for the fabulous
Fab cake.
There you
Fab
go.
cakes. All right,
All right,
Nicolee, we're
back to
coming
you,
back
Rich.
to you. We have a couple of minutes left. We're running a little bit short on time, but go ahead, Nick.
All right. So, Billy Murphy, remember what Van Jones was saying just this past week about how brilliant Trump is and how he's outsmarted them all? Of course, Donald Trump is the president-elect. There's no dispute on that. Everyone can go out and have their opinions, but in the end, Trump is going to be the leader of this nation. So don't worry. The person people elected is who's going to actually rule in this case, which has not been the case for the past 4 years. No one knows who was running the White House, which is why you see all of the nation's leaders and all of the tech giants and everyone else going to Trump because there's been such a void in leadership. Has that been terrible for America? Has it been scary for the world? Yes, across the board. And as for Elon Musk, I just have to say, it was heartening to see someone with a backbone and a spine. This man had huge contracts with SpaceX, huge, and he risked it all to support Trump and make his political opinions heard. So I have to say, hats off to someone who risked their entire life's work to get behind their political opinions.
No, he got in late. He got in late, and he can read the polls. He made a bet that Trump was going to win, and he made a good bet. He saw what was happening. He saw
So-
what people were thinking. And so he didn't take a gamble. He jumped on the train as soon as he saw that it was leaving the station.
Because you
Now,
guys,
Well,
that
let's
begs the
actually dive
question.
into- no,
Hold on.
let's dive into that for a
I
second.
let you speak. I let you speak. This begs the question
Run up it,
about
Bill.
whether what Trump is doing is smart, whether what Elon Musk is saying is smart, and whether or not Trump is on the right track and will be able to handle the situation, such like his recent statements that he promised to get rid of the price increases in groceries, and now he's backing off of that because he realizes that there are forces at work that unless he controls them, inflation is going to continue to rise and people are going to continue to suffer.
call it the
And
federal.
so lots of luck, Donald. I want to see him solve the problem. I
Jimmy.
don't think he's capable of it.
Jimmy, you gotta have the last word. Sorry.
It's called the Federal Reserve. All right. And so these forces are controllable. And the whole world, to Nicolee's point, saw what was happening, which is why you guys had to abandon your sitting president to go with a VP that nobody knows where the hell she is right now, even though they're still allegedly governing. And Nicolee, you're right about that too. Biden off the radar, Harris off the radar. The whole world right now sees that there's a real leader in this country again. And yeah, they're getting ahead. They're getting to work. And I'm excited about Musk, and I'm really excited about Trump.
You're not talking about Lamar Jackson, is that correct?
I love Lamar.
Of course.
I
Hey,
did.
guys, we are a little bit over time. This, of course, is a holiday weekend, Christmas weekend, Hanukkah. We hope there's peace on earth, goodwill toward men and women. We've got a lot to see to prove that. And thank you, our viewers. Thank you to you for continuing to help our audience grow and grow and grow in our 41st year. And we'll see you next time. Happy holidays.
New Year.
Safe. Same to you. See you next time. And once again, we square off.
Happy
Goodbye,
Hanukkah.
everybody.
Happy Christmas, happy
Merry
Hanukkah,
Christmas.
happy